But I think the most important thing first is to define how you want to be recognized as an employer. Hello.
Good afternoon. How are you, Alison?
Good, how are you?
I'm standing here in New York. Welcome to this week's LeaderBite. We are at one of the LinkedIn offices, and this is Alison Mann, one of a good old friend of mine and still a professional colleague, and she's been great enough to bring me up to the LinkedIn offices, and we were just having a great conversation on culture. And Ali, I want you to share with the world right now this great conversation we had. How do you define culture?
Sure. So culture in the workplace.
Yeah, sure.
Culture in the workplace is huge here at LinkedIn. Our CEO defines it as the collective personality of the organization in terms of where you are now.
Right.
But not only where you are now, where that organization aspires to be in terms of that culture. So the personality as it is today, but also the personality that you want it to transform into as the days move on.
And I know that we were laughing back and forth because when we hear the word culture, similar to strategy, sometimes that's so up in the clouds and people don't know what that is. What do you find you get here? Because you were part of here at LinkedIn, you were doing the Culture Council. How do you give your people handles for that? Because sometimes it is so in the clouds. How do you really narrow it down and let everybody walk around understanding it?
I'd say that the reason why the culture here at LinkedIn is such a positive one, but not just positive, it's recognized, it's known by everybody and understood by everybody, felt by everybody, is because from the top down, from our absolute most senior leadership, including Jeff Weiner, our CEO, and his direct reports, it's practiced, it's defined.
They're walking the walk.
They absolutely walk the walk. They don't just talk the talk.
Okay, and do you find that in the pods that you work with around the offices as well? That everybody kind of gets it? Everybody just gets it.
And what's truly fascinating is when I visit other offices, not just in the US, the Chicago office.
Other LinkedIn offices.
Other LinkedIn offices.
Right.
Outside of the United States, I've been to the Sydney office, the Dublin office. You could close your eyes and be anywhere in the world and know that you're inside of a LinkedIn office because the culture, it's just felt.
So that's great, thank you. So for the mum and pop shop or a person that runs a small team, what advice would you give them in terms of building a culture for themselves?
Yeah, I'd say sit down and define that culture that you want to be recognized as.
Okay.
Here it's all about diversity, belonging, inclusion, employees knowing that they're respected, appreciated, a collaborative energy throughout the office, best practice sharing. That's our culture here, and so much more. But I think the most important thing first is to define how you want to be recognized as an employer.
So as an employer or as a team leader, I need to define what I want my team culture to be. And then how do you see that executed here? Because once I've got it on paper, I think that's the strategy. The culture is when we pull it off the paper, right?
Right.
So how do they do that here? And what's your experience?
And I see a lot of organizations that, they'll write it down on paper, they'll write it all over the walls of the office.
Right.
But it's just not practiced.
Right, it's still on the paper.
Exactly.
Right.
So walking the walk is you as a senior leader or perhaps the CEO of your organization explicitly defining and reiterating to your employees what your organization is all about.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you have specific days that they do that here, so that you're pounding the pavement.
It's practiced every day,
That's great.
whether you know it or not. But once a month, and I think this is a phenomenal exercise for any organization of any size to do.
Right.
We have something called In Day. Obviously, it plays off the word in, LinkedIn, everything is in. But it's a day where our leaders encourage you to take a step away from your desk, drop what you're doing for an hour or two for the day, or perhaps the whole day. And there's a theme for each in day.
So is the theme one of the values that you're talking about?
Typically it is.
I love that. That's great.
So if it's giving back or creativity, there are culture teams in each office, some larger than others, that put together activities, an agenda for the employees to participate in.
That's great, so great. And so the win then for you as the employee, now that you are practicing the culture, you're seeing it being practiced by the leadership, what's the win for you as an employee?
The win for me, good question. is that I feel supported.
Okay.
I know that I feel invested in, and because of that, I want to not only give back to the company, I want to give back, really, as funny, maybe cheesy as it sounds, give back to the world.
That's great. So
and LinkedIn gives you that opportunity.
Because they've invested in you, you feel more engaged as an employee. What a win. Alison, thank you so much.
Thank
so
you.
Good to see you. Thanks for
so
inviting
much.
us here. That's it for this week's LeaderBite. Feel free to subscribe if you wish, comment below on some of Alison's thoughts, and we hope that this is something great that you can chew on. Cheers, Alison.
Thank you.
Bye.